Hey there, Nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another episode of Tales from the Tackle Zone Season 2. This is a series that's dedicated to Blood Bowl battle reports with our Season 2 of our league. This is battle report number 8, and this is actually game number 4 of our New World Conference. So for those of you guys who are joining in for the very first time, just be aware that our league is actually divided into two conferences. We have 12 different teams. So we have two conferences, one called the Old World Conference and one called the New World Conference. Both conferences have 6 teams apiece, and this is game number 4 of the New World Conference. This one is actually fought between Elf Union players, which is actually played over here, as you see right here, by my friend Fresh Prince Belair. You will be playing the Elfheim Eagles, which is his Elf Union team, which is absolutely terrifying because this last game it put half of a Skaven team into the casualty box. These guys are absolute beasts. And then we play against my team, which is the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. These are my Necromantic Horrors team. So as you can see, both of our teams are lined up. We're also ready to go for the kickoff. But before we get started, though, we're going to play some background music real quick. As the music is playing, we will show you videos of both teams as well as a roster. So if you want to see exactly what we're bringing for this one, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure. So that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll. Alright, so for the first half, I managed to win the coin toss on this one, so because of that, I elected to kick, so that way I could receive in the second half of the game. As you can see, the ball basically rocketed over, landing right here in this wide zone, right on top of this grate is where the ball finally landed. Now for the kickoff table, we got solid defense, so I was able to move some of my players if I wanted to, but I pretty much liked where all my players were anyway, so I decided to skip that because I pretty much liked the location where all my players were for the most part. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the weather. The weather is perfect conditions for Blood Bowl. As you can see, we have a huge packed stadium. My friend Fresh Prince Belair actually has 3 on his fan factor for this one. Meanwhile, I have 4 for my fan factor, so I have 1 more additional than him. As you can see, the stands are packed with our fans. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Elfheim Eagles. All right, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Elfheim Eagles, and right off the bat, disaster strikes. So this blitzer right over here, blitzer number 6, Galandrilan Shadowstar, he decided to throw a blitz directly into my player. Player number 10, Emmett the Mad, which is one of my werewolves, manages to hit a power result. Not only does he manage to hit a power result on that as well, he punctures my armor and knocks me out right on the top of turn number 1. So just like that, I am handicapped 1 werewolf who's currently in the dugout, currently recovering. So man, these elves, I'm not sure what it is about these Elfheim Eagles, but man, they hit. They hit really hard for elves. Now what this does, of course, it opens up a hole right here in the wide zone by doing that. So because that, my friend then actually sends in one of his, then sends up his thrower. That's player number 1, the team captain, Rimriel Brightwand. He actually moves up, manages to pick the ball, no problem, because he has agility of 2+. He then throws a short pass directly to catcher number, I believe that's number 6. There we go. No, I'm sorry, catcher number 3, Leaster Brightknife. Managed to do a short pass for him. He catches the ball, no problem, and so because he weaves right through this hole that was caused by this blitzer, he does pass his agility test to get past the tackle zone on my ghoul and moves up his maximum movement allowance. Oddly enough, my friend decides not to actually rush it. He decides to go the normal movement allowance. Meanwhile, he then maneuvers the rest of his team. As you can see, his throwers, as well as a combo of his linemen, they actually move up along the top here to exploit this opening or to give their player an open pocket to protect them. Meanwhile, at the same time, he also moves up his players down here for the blitzers, as well as his catcher directly to mark my ghoul as well as my werewolf, so that way I did the agility test if I try to escape in order to throw a blitz directly into this guy. So that part is absolutely insane. Very successful turn number 1 for my friend Fresh Prince Belair. Meanwhile, at the same time, Rimroll Bright One also earns himself a star player point for actually making a passing completion. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 1 for my team, the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. Alright, so that takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 1 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. So what ended up happening is I then activated my werewolf, player number 9, Urban Draco. He does manage to actually escape the tackle zone from this blitzer over here, makes it all the way over to the top, and actually goes for it, rushes it 1 extra square, and throws a blitz directly into that catcher, Leaster Bright Knife. Now, originally when I actually blocked him, I actually got a push result, so I could, because of that, I only pushed him up 1 additional square. But because my player, Urban Draco, does have the Frenzy skill, he actually has to go again because of that. So he does have to rush again, so I roll for my rush and managed to pass that through another block, but this time I rolled both players down. Unfortunately, I don't have block on me, so because I do go crash into the ground, neither of us, our armor is penetrated, so we're perfectly fine, and the ball bounced over 1 more square, right directly towards the wide zone as well. Now, of course, this does cause immediate turnover, which means we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Elfheim Eagles. All right, so now that takes us directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Elfheim Eagles, and once again, Fresh Prince Bel-Air, man, causing all kinds of problems. So the first thing he does, of course, is he activates his blitzer. That player name is player number 6, Galandrian Shadowstar. He throws a blitz directly into my ghoul player number 3, Isidore von Drachenfels. Managed to actually penetrate his armor as well, with a POW result. Luckily for me, though, I just got stunned, so he doesn't go directly into the casualty or the knockout box. Man, these elves are brutal. But anyways, as the play continues, however, because there's a giant hole, what ends up happening is he takes his catcher, who got nailed first of all, Kassarian Gladshore. He gets back, Leaster Bright Knife. He gets back on his feet again. He loses 3 points of movement, but he moves up the rest of his squares directly towards the end zone. Now, the star moment here took place with player number 11. His name is Lillinbeth Soaring Leaf. He actually moves up, manages to pick up the ball, and throws a pass because he has a 4 passing ability, so, 50-50 chance. Manages to throw the ball. Unfortunately, he fails the passing attempt originally, but my buddy Fresh Prince Bel-Air burned up one of his rerolls in order to get that ball going, so he throws it again, manages to complete the pass, so it's a throw short pass directly to Leaster Bright Knife, and earns himself an additional star point, player point as well. Meanwhile, down over here, of course, we do have some pushing taking place, the blitzers as well as the catcher, pushing back my ghoul as well as also one of my zombies. The rest of his linemen stay in position, the rest of his players move up in order to add some more support for their drive. And that pretty much ends turn number 2 for the Elfheim Eagles. So with that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for the Necromantic Horrors. So we're back at the bottom of turn number 2, and my turn is very short-lived. What ends up happening is my werewolf, Urban Draco, he does get back on it. Oh, sorry, not Urban Draco. My ghoul does roll over in order to escape his stun, so Isidore von Drachenfels is ready to go. But my werewolf, player number 9, Urban Draco, he tries to get back on his feet again, loses 3 squares of his movement. He does try to dodge the tackle zone out of this player, but unfortunately I failed my agility test. Did not really feel like burning one of my rerolls on that one, so because he goes crashing to the ground, which ends my turn and causes immediate turnover, which takes us directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Elfheim Eagles. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Elfheim Eagles, and touchdown number 1 for the Elfheim Eagles. Player number 3, the Leaster Bright Knife, of course, just moves up 2 squares to go directly into my end zone, scoring the first touchdown for the Elfheim Eagles. So because of the Elfheim Eagles are now up 1-0, I have nothing at this point, which means that this is the end of the drive, which means that we re-rack, and once again we go back to kickoff. So we'll be right back after this. Alright, so now we're back for the kickoff. Once again, my friend, our French Prince Bel-Air pretty much has adopted the same kind of tactic he had before, keeping his throwers back as well as his catchers back, as well as his blitzers back, oddly enough, away from the line of scrimmage. I think he's trying to do that in case I manage to slip through his lines. He has all of his linemen lined up against my guys as well. However, though, I do have the upper hand because I do have flesh golems in this main line. It's time for a little bit of payback. Now, I did realize something as I was setting up my team for the kickoff. I was actually playing with a handicap for the first part. I actually kept one of my zombies in my reserve box, which is actually kind of a ridiculous thing to do because I only had 10 players on the field last time. I didn't even realize that until we were lining these guys up. So that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say I lost that one because I was playing with a handicap. That's my excuse, and I'm going to stick it. You can't change my mind. So because of that, the ball finally does kick off and lands right over here in this square. We got changing weather conditions for this one. However, though, when my friend Fresh Prince Bel-Air rolled for the changing weather, it ended up being perfect Blood Bowl weather again, so it just scattered. So there's the ball. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. Alright, so we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers, and unfortunately, disaster strikes. First thing that ends up happening is that my goal player number 4, Norma Diacqui, she actually moves up, manages to pick up the ball, and runs all the way directly to this end wide zone over here. Meanwhile, I do take my zombie, I move him up directly to this catcher, so that way he's stuck with inside my tackle zone. I know it's not really much to go on because elves have such high agility ratings, but you know, I gotta do something. Now, the disaster strikes with player number 10, Emmett the Mad. He tries to throw a blitz directly into this blitzer right over here, which is this player. Unfortunately for me, though, when I throw my blitz into him, I actually rolled a player down. So because of that, as I both players down. But since this blitzer's got block, he's perfectly fine. So I roll again. I actually burned up one of my re-rolls in order to do so. But unfortunately for me, though, when I burned up my re-roll, I rolled another both players down again. So this blitzer's completely fine. Emmett the Man, however, is not. So he goes crashing to the dirt. And just like my hopes and dreams of making the run through this pass, it ends my turn prematurely with a turnover. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 4. And this time we go for the Elfheim Eagles. So we go directly to the bottom of turn number 4 for the Elfheim Eagles, and for the most part, it actually was kind of mild for the most part. He does try to do a blitz real quick with his blitzer. That player's name is player number 5, Master and Pure Sky. He tries to throw a blitz directly into Normandy Acqui, which is my goal runner. Luckily for me, though, all he managed to do is push her back, so she only goes back one space. He then moves with the rest of his player up here to get up his locking positions or to secure up this wide zone. Meanwhile, at the same time, he sends his second blitzer. This is the killer so far. This is Galadrian Shadowstar. He managed to pass his agility test in order to escape from these tackle zones and actually skirts around my main lines, heading directly towards my ghoul. At the same time, he also moves up his catcher as well as one of his throwers in order to block my second werewolf, so that way I can stop him from moving for the most part. And he decides to kind of call it that turn. He doesn't want to risk throwing any blocks directly into my main line here because my 2 flesh golems are there. And that pretty much makes up his turn. I have the sneaky suspicion he's going to try to steal the ball and try to go for another touchdown if he can, which is absolutely terrifying. So because of that, we go directly to the bottom of the turn number 4 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. Alright, so we go to the bottom of turn number 4 real quick for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. And for the most part, I did a lot of damage. Was able to make a hole directly into the main line of scrimmage. Here was my plan was. My plan originally was to actually have this ghoul, after he made those holes, to slip past this line to go directly here and do a short pass real quick with my one ghoul throwing the ball to another ghoul. Unfortunately for me, though, this is the blitzer, though, is the problem here is this blitzer player number 5, Master and Pure Sky. I was kind of worried about him, so I sent one of my zombies to do a blitz action directly into him. This is player number 1, Valdemir, which is my team captain. Unfortunately for him, he rolls a player down result, right? So I, of course, burn up one of my rerolls because I don't want to have that happen. And so I try to go again. Unfortunately, I got the same exact result, and he gets stunned at the same time. So he's laying down on the ground right now, bleeding out. Man, these blitzers are made out of adamantium coated in kryptonite or something. These guys are absolutely brutal. So because of that, that does cause an immediate turnover, which means we go directly to the top of turn number 5 for the Elfheim Eagles. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 5 for the Elfheim Eagles. So let's go ahead and talk about exactly what happened. So once again, disaster strikes. The first thing that ends up happening, of course, is that this blitzer number here, blitzer number, I believe that's number 5, Master and Pure Sky, he throws a block directly into player number 4, Normandy Acqui, my ghoul runner. So because he does manage to get a power result, managed to knock him down. Luckily for me, my armor wasn't penetrated, so I was pretty good over there. But what that did happen to those, the ball did bounce directly into this square over here. Now to follow through, of course, this is player number 3, which is actually one of the throwers. His name, player number 2, Endicel Tenderheart. He throws a blitz action going directly in over here, knocking a blitz directly into my player number 2, Piter, which is one of my zombies. He gets a push result, which pushes in the crowd, ends up being knocked out. So because that he's in the knockout box. Same thing with player number 10, which is Emmett the Mad. And what ended up happening is that this player, elf player number 10, which is a normal lineman, Maury named Swifthand, throws a blocking action directly into him and manages to knock him out as well. So just like that, 2 of my players are in the knockout box, which is absolutely insane. So now that that hole was opened up, of course, one of his catchers, I believe this is catcher number 4, Cassirian Gladshore, I believe. He actually moves up, goes in, scoops up the ball, and moves directly over here, heading directly towards the end zone again, trying to get a second touchdown. His other blitzer, Master and Pure Sky, Cassirian Gladshore, I believe his name is. He actually moves over here, moves directly his maximum allowance to provide him cover as well. Now, as you can see, for the rest of the turn, the big disaster took place over here with player number 1. He actually pushed back my werewolf over directly to the end zone, but one of his other players as well gets knocked out, which is one of his catchers. That's catcher number 3, Lysander Brightknife. He tries to throw a block directly into my zombie player over here, zombie player number 7, which is Rutger. Unfortunately for him, though, he gets a player down result, penetrates his own armor, and he himself gets knocked out as well. So because he's in the knockout box also. And I am starting to realize that these elves are something else. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe they're juicing in their free time with steroids, but they are totally kicking my butt right now, putting my guys in the hospital. So because of that, that caused immediate turnover, which means I go directly to the bottom of turn number 5 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. So we are back with the bottom of turn number 5 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers, and unfortunately it's a very short-lived moment. First of all, my team captain, player number 1, Valdemir, does manage to get back on his feet again. However, Norma Diakwi, she tries to get back on. She does get back on her feet again, loses 3 squares of her movement. I was trying to move up directly so that way I could possibly give them a tackle zone to stop this person from leaving with marking them. But unfortunately, when I tried to dodge this blitzer's dodge zone, I did fail my agility test. I of course rerolled because of dodge, and I failed it again. So because of that, I go crashing to the ground and causing immediate turnover for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 6 for the Elfheim Eagles. So with that, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 6 for the Elfheim Eagles, and touchdown number 2 for the Elfheim Eagles. The French Prince Belair moves up his player number 4, Cassirian Gladshore. He just goes up his normal movement allowance directly towards the end zone, scoring a second touchdown for the Elfheim Eagles, and I have no touchdowns, which is absolutely horrific. Also earns himself 3 star player points for this player as well for getting that touchdown as well. So because of that, if there is any good news, that does cause the end of a drive, which means that hopefully my players can recover from the knockout box, and hopefully I can put them back into the field again. So we will be right back. We're going to re-rack real quick for kickoff, and we'll be back after we set up. Alright, so now we're back from the kickoff event. As you can see, once again, our teams are lined up exactly. As you can see, my buddy French Wizard did like his little flying W look. I have pretty much all my guys directly onto the line of scrimmage for the most part. If you'll notice, I'm also 1 player short because, unfortunately for me, player number 2, Heiter, is still knocked out. But there is some good news. Same thing with player number 3, which is Leaster Bright Knife. He's still knocked out as well. However, though, he does have a spare player, so the lineman actually steps in to do his thing. Now, when we rolled up for the ball for the kickoff table, we got to get the ref. So because that both of our teams do have 1 bribe inducement, if we don't use it by the end of this drive, we do lose that bribe inducement. So expect to see some fouls to take place over here. At the same time, when the ball actually finally gets done landing and scattering, it lands right on top of this sarcophagus, right next to player number 3, which is Isidore von Drachenfeld, which is my ghoul. The cool thing about him, he actually has the pass skills, so I can actually throw this ball if I want. He's got a passing of 4 up, so it could re-roll if I don't do very well. So maybe I might pass it this time. Who knows? So with that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 6 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. Alright, so that takes us to the top of turn number 6 for my team, the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. As you can see, I came back with a vengeance. So first of all, first thing I ended up doing, of course, was moving up my ghoul player number 4, Norma Diakwi. She actually moved up her maximum allowance directly to the top of this table over here. Now from there, I then moved up my second ghoul, player number 3, Isidore von Drachenfels. He actually moves up, picks up the ball, and does a short pass directly to my other ghoul, who managed to catch no problem, earning themselves a +1 to their star player points because that beautiful pass was made to this ghoul. Now from there, I then moved up my player over here, my zombie, up directly in front of this lineman in order to make sure he's marked as tackle zone. I then sent player number 9, Emmett the Man, to a blitz. He actually got back push back the first time, so he managed to push it back the first time. Then because of his frenzy tech, he got to go again, managed to get a power result, and managed to knock him over as well. Meanwhile, my line of scrimmage over here, as you can see, tore up the main line with those flesh golems, really knocking down guys like bowling pins right down the center here, and also causing some chain pushes as well. What that did, it actually opened up a pocket for my other werewolf, player number 10, Emmett the Mad. He decides to skirt his way through the debris and makes his way directly towards this line, so that way both of my werewolves can hopefully punch a hole through the main line, and that way my ghouls can actually move forward and then hopefully score myself a touchdown before the end of the first half. And that pretty much makes up my turn for this one. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 7 for the Elfheim Eagles. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 7 for the Elfheim Eagles. And so for the most part over here, this lineman throws a block directly to my zombie, manages to knock him over at the same time, which causes this hole to open, which means that player number 1, Ramil Brightwand, he tries to throw a blitz action, going around the wide zone, weaving his way through. He actually has to go for it twice. Now, unfortunately for my friend, French Wizard, he actually rolled a 1 for one of his rushes, so he used up one of his rerolls in order to do so, and then he threw a blitz directly into player number 4, which is Norma Diakwi. Now, unfortunately, he got a player down results because he used up his 1 reroll, so he couldn't use it again, so because that caused immediate turnover. And at the same time, I also managed to puncture his armor, which is kind of cool, causing him to be stunned. So he's laying on the ground, he's currently bleeding out, which causes me to go directly to the top of turn number 7 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. So that takes directly to the end of turn number 7, bottom of turn number 7 for me anyway. So as you can see, a lot of disaster took place over here for my opponent. So first of all, I do send in my werewolf, Urban Draco. He does do a blitz action directly with his lineman, managed to knock him down and stun him at the same time because it punctures armor. What that does is it basically creates a hole for me to slip through for my other player as well. So normally Aqua, she moves up her normal movement allowance. I decided not to rush it because I'm within 7 squares of the end zone, so hopefully I could do it safely. I do also move up Emmett the Mad as well to move it directly to protect my ghoul as well. I then also send in my Flesh Golem. So number 14, Comrade Wallach, actually moves up forward in order to block this blitzer. At the same time, my other Flesh Golem player, number 13, his name is Geraldus von Stahl. He actually throws a foul and manages to knock out one of the linemen as well, managed to put him in the knockout box as well. And luckily for me, I didn't actually roll any doubles after doing so that part was absolutely fantastic. Didn't have to use that bribe at all. Now for the rest of the turn, of course, I set the rest of my team up forward to kind of make as much blocking as I can for my ghoul, so that way they can make it to the end zone, and marking one of these players down here as well. So that being said, that ends turn number 7 for me. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 8 for the Elfheim Eagles. So that takes directly to the bottom of top of turn number 8 for the Elfheim Eagles, and just from the jaws of victory, defeat. This player right here, this thrower, I believe that's player number 1, Rimroll Brightwand. He actually does a blitz action, moving all the way up and actually hits directly into Emmett the Mad. Now originally, he got both players down, but because of that, he decided to actually use his last reroll in order to do so. So he rerolls again, gets a push, which causes a chain push for Norma de Aqua to get pushed directly into the crowd. She gets a stun results because she goes down, and the ball flies 8 squares directly over here back into my half of the game. And just like that, I was so close to actually getting a touchdown, and it was snatched away from me. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 8 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. So that takes directly to the bottom of turn number 8 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers, and disaster strikes. My goal player number 3, Isidore von Drachenfels. She actually moves down in order to try to pick up the ball. My goal here was to try to pick up the ball and just go for a Hail Mary pass and try to pass it to somebody. But unfortunately, though, when I went to go pick up the ball, I rolled a 1, so I burned up my very last reroll, trying to pick it up again, and I rolled a 1 again. So the ball bounces over 1 square over, and just like that, that ends the first half with a 2-0 lead right now with the Elfheim Eagles over the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. But luckily for me, though, I am getting the ball in the second half, so hopefully I might be able to score a touchdown then. So we're going to re-rack real quick, and we'll come back, and of course we'll talk about exactly what ends up happening for the second half of the game. Alright, so now we're back for the second half, and as you can see, all of our teams are lined up. Once again, going with this interesting like smiley face pattern that the Elfheim Eagles have been kicking my butt with this entire time. So anyways, the ball actually lands right over here, actually, over the red zone as well. Now, when they actually rolled for the kickoff result, I got 11, which is Ophius Ref. So because that, both Fresh Prince Belair and I had to roll a d6, adding our fan factors. Unfortunately for me, Fresh Prince Belair, of course, won the roll-off, which means that one of my random players might get sent off or get stunned. In the end, it was player number 2, Piter, one of my zombies. He managed to get stunned right off the bat, so he's laying down on the ground, and he's currently bleeding out. And so with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. We'll be back right after my... Alright, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. As you can see, some pretty crazy things happened. First of all, I tried to punch a line through the main line of scrimmage. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do so. So because all I did is really push back the Elven line for the most part. So because of that, what I decided to do was then to exploit up here at the top. So I set one of my zombies into a blitz directly into... what's his name? One of the blitzers, Master and Pure Sky. Managed to put a knockout result on that guy as well. Punctured his armor, so he's currently in the dugout right now, recovering, seeing Tweety birds flying around his head. Now from there, I then sent up Isidore von Drachenfeld. He actually runs up, picks up the ball, but unfortunately I rolled a 1 for the pickup, so I burned one of my rerolls in order to make sure I could do that again. So he picks the ball, and then I pass it directly towards Emmett the Mad. It's a short pass, no penalty, so he catches the ball, and he runs as fast as he can, his maximum allowance, all the way directly towards the end zone. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't leave it exposed to being blitzed by this player or by that lineman as well, but you know what? I just got to make some desperate moves in order to make it happen. Unfortunately for me, though, down over here, I'm sorry, not Emmett the Mad, that's Urban Draco, my werewolf. Unfortunately, Emmett the Mad does try to weave through the main line in order to try to catch up to him, but I do stumble, and since I do already use one of my rerolls, that immediately causes immediate turnover, and then a turn number 1 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 1 for my friend Princess Belair, as well as the Elfheim Eagles. All right, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Elfheim Eagles. And as you can see, I'm thinking that my opponent doesn't want me to score. What ends up happening is he ends up setting up one of his throwers. Player number 1, Ryan Ramil Brightwan, tries to throw a blitz directly into to Urban Draco. Now, lucky for me, though, he only got a push result. It's because I got pushed upwards. Now, from there, he sends all of his catchers, all of his throwers, and a couple of his linemen to try to surround Urban Draco. So that way, if I do try to escape, I got meta penalties because I'm getting marked by multiple players, which is going to cause me all kinds of problems. So I'm going to need a miracle in order to pull this one off if I want to try to escape. So that part's insane. Meanwhile, he does have the rest of his guys. Some of them stand up, some of them roll over, and some of them are marking some of my ghouls. And that pretty much makes up turn number 1 for the Elfheim Eagles. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. All right, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. And unfortunately, disaster strikes. I send one of my zombies to blitz one of these catchers. My idea was that hopefully I can limit the number of times he's being marked for Urban Draco, but unfortunately I got both players down. And it's only the first quarter, the first quarter of the second half, and I really don't want to burn up on my rerolls. So because I just kind of go with the results, and because that causes immediate turnover. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for the Elfheim Eagles. So with that, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Elfheim Eagles, and unfortunately for my friend First Prince Belair, his basically what ended up happening is one of his blockers hit Urban Draco, which of course caused the ball to drop right here over in this location. So this thrower actually goes and actually maneuvers a couple of his players up here in order to get the ball going over directly to the end zone. Now, unfortunately for my buddy First Prince Belair, he originally tries to pass the ball directly to his other thrower. For one of his linemen, but the ball actually is inaccurate, so because that scatters over one square, and just like that, it caused immediate turnover and ending turn number 2 for the Elfheim Eagles. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. All right, so we got the top of turn number 3 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers, and once again, some craziness has taken place over here in the top of the table. First of all, my Flesh Golem, player number 13, Geraldus von Stahl, he runs a blitz directly into this catcher and managed to put a stun result on him, so because he is currently passed out. At the same time, Urban Draco managed to get back on his feet again, losing 3 squares of his movement. He actually managed to just pass his agility test to escape a tackle zone, and use the rest of his movement to go directly up here at the top of the wide zone. Now from there, Norma de Acqui, he actually moves up directly to get the ball, picks it up, throws the pass, which is a really short pass, and manages to give it back to Urban Draco, earning himself a star player point in the process of doing so. Meanwhile, maneuvers some of my forces are directly to the top of the wide zone to try to help out this time around, because I'm trying to desperately get a touchdown. Hopefully I'm going to get it in my top of turn number 4. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 3 for the Elfheim Eagles. All right, so we go to the bottom of turn number 3 for the Elfheim Eagles, and disaster strikes for me once again. This thrower, the team captain, Rinril Brightwan, throws a blitz directly into Urban Draco, pushes him directly into the crowd. The ball does go back a couple of squares and lands directly in this player's hand as well. Now, so because of that, player does try to run with it, but he does fail and he stumbles because he fails his agility test, rolling a 1. My friend decides not to burn up his reroll. He decides to keep it going. So the ball then bounces directly to this catcher, who does manage to catch the ball. But because he does stumble, it does cause immediate turnover, meaning we go directly to the top of turn number 4 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. All right, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 4, and as you can see, some pretty crazy things have happened over here in the top of the wide zone. First of all, my zombie throws a block directly into this player who has the ball. Unfortunately, all I do is manage to push him back 1 square. However, one of the coolest things, though, is that my Flesh Golem did do a blitz, pushed these players up to the top, same thing with this zombie over here, which created this pocket and this hole to be exploited, which I snuck in my ghoul, Norma de Acqui, managed to go directly into there as well. At the same time, I also managed to send up my werewolves directly up to this top here, and at the same time decided to just kind of play it safe and not taking more chances, and pretty much end my turn. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 4 for the Elfheim Eagles. All right, so it takes directly to the bottom of turn number 4 for the Elfheim Eagles, and once again, some amazing play has been taking place. First of all, my buddy, First Prince Belair, activates player number 3, Leaster Brightknife, who throws a pass. Now, he does have to suffer -2 to the pass. -3 to the pass, because he's got to go -2 for the pass, and plus he's got interference taking place as well. But luckily enough, my buddy actually rolls a 6 and manages to get to one of his catchers, throwers, who's up here, Endicel Tenderheart. Now from there, he then maneuvers and weaves his way directly through the line of scrimmage and ends up over here as well. with a clear open path and no one blocking his path from getting another touchdown. Meanwhile, his other blitzer goes over here to try to intercept this goal over here. Manages to only do a push action, and the rest of the turn he basically stands with the rest of his players. And that pretty much ends turn number 4 for this one. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 5 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. Unfortunate for me though, turn number 5 doesn't really have. Turn number 5 doesn't actually happen for me, and the reason why is because I forget to move my turn marker. I forgot to do that. I started getting excited, started moving on my other players. I forgot to move my turn marker, which is a legal procedure, which caused an immediate turnover. Just like a noob, I lose my turns. With that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 5 for the Elfheim Eagles. Alright, so for the bottom of the turn for turn number 5 for the Elfheim Eagles, pretty much not really much happened for the most part. Pretty much he just moves up his catcher as well as his thrower as well as one of his linemen. They actually peel away from up here at the wide zone, make their way directly towards the end zone. As you can see, there's nothing stopping them from moving in forward. And at the same time, I have nothing that I can throw against it because I moved all my players over here. So things are not looking good right now for my team. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 6 for the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. Alright, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 6 on this one. So I did try to do a Hail Mary. I had my player over here, Isidore von Drachenfels. He actually tries to do a blitz all the way from over here. He actually moves his maximum allowance, rushes twice to throw a tackle directly into this catcher, and I got a push result for my first result. It's because I used up my very last of my rerolls and I tried to do another one, and I got another push. It's because all I did is I just actually made him get a little bit closer on that one. So that part was pretty bad as well. At the same time, I then try to activate my second goal to try to get back on his feet again so that way he can try to run interference. Unfortunately, I rolled a 1 to escape the tackle zone for this player from this blitzer, so it goes crashing back down and causes an immediate turnover for my team. I didn't have any more rerolls, so this part is going to be painful. So because of that, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 6 and touchdown number 3. For my friend Freshman Spellair. He actually rolled to escape the tackle zone for my goal. I actually rolled a 1. So because he actually burned up his one of his rerolls, so because of that, so that way he could reroll it. Managed to pass his agility test because he does go tearing across the battlefield directly to the end zone and scoring a 3rd touchdown for the Elfheim Eagles. At this point, I realized that this is actually kind of rough. I could actually decide to keep playing and not get a league point, even if I might just get 1 touchdown. That'd be kind of cool. Or I can concede and get a guaranteed league point. So I decided to call the game early on this one, just because there's no way I'm going to be able to remake or reconstitute my losses. So the Elfheim Eagles win this one with a victory of 3-0. So with that being said, we're going to go to the After Action report because this game is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I thought about staying. They offered me the chance to lead them, to teach them, to be king.
Uh-huh.
But my place is here, so I swallowed the juice, said the words, and here I am.
Did you say the words right this time?
Well, maybe I didn't say every single tiny little syllable, no, but basically I said them, yeah. Basically.
Alright, so now it's time for the After Action report for game number 8 of the New World Conference from Tales of the Tachyon Season 2. So starting off with my team, the Wolfenburg Crypt-Stealers. So unfortunately, I lost this game, but I was pretty lucky. I didn't suffer any injuries, which I cannot say for my little sister with her Scam and Bite Scramblers, so I got pretty lucky that way. Now to advancements, one member of my team did advance, Comrade Wallach, my Flesh Golem player number 14. He actually got the MVP on this one, so I decided to roll for a new skill, and he learned the Armbar skill, and increasing his value by 10,000 gold pieces. Now I managed to score 35,000 gold pieces from this game. I did not have any change for my dedicated fans because I lost, so I'm still at 2 dedicated fans. Now with my gold pieces, I decided to actually recruit a new zombie player number 8 named Johan for 40,000 gold pieces. I then took my remaining 5,000 gold pieces and placed it directly into my treasury. I didn't purchase any inducements for the next round. As for my league points, I managed to score 1 league point for conceding the game with a 0-3 victory, 0-3 loss to my opponent. It managed to increase my league points to 5 league points in total. My new record now is at 1 win and 1 loss, and my new team value now is at 1,130 points. Now let's go and talk about my friend Fresh Prince Bel-Air and his Elfheim Eagles. Luckily for him, he also didn't suffer any injuries at all during this game, and oddly enough, nobody advanced during this time. And the reason why is because he had so many advancements during his last game, he decided just to kind of keep the points for his teams because he has to get that second advancement with those star player points. Now, for his winning, he managed to score 65,000 gold pieces from this game, and he also increased his dedicated fan base by 1, giving a grand total of 3 dedicated fans in total. Now, he decided not to spend any of his gold crowns, increasing his treasure up to 105,000 gold pieces. He didn't recruit anybody, purchased no inducements. He also earned 4 league points in this game, increasing his total league points to 9 points in total. His new record now is at 2 wins and 0 losses, and his team rating is still at 1,100 points. So that's good to this, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this week, guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.